favorite wrestling podcast. It is the Monday Night Wave, baby. And we back. We back. It's a little interesting, a little different this time here. We will be doing our all out review, except there is no we. It is just me. It's just me, Oos, day one. Um, just a little tidbit here. We've been having issues with like finding a new like provider to do like remote podcasts and whatnot. So it's been a lot of tech issues, a lot of things to like figure out here. So there is no DT. DT is in our last episode about Palooza. No H today, but he will be connecting with us in the next one. So for this episode, it's just me. It's just Jay in the all out review here. But we're gonna keep it normal. We're gonna keep it the same. It's still Pod Breaker, it's still Pods and Reed, it's still Misrespected Jumper, Pod Break kids in the building, you know what I'm talking about. Um, but first, let's go over like just overall thoughts going into All Out. I know that with All Out, we had the counter programming, the booking of like the WrestlePalooza going up with All Out, and there was just a lot of chatter throughout the week about which show is going to be better. What are we watching here? What's going on? And I'm here to tell you, All Out was fucking amazing. Um, and maybe it's just recency bias. Maybe I'm just like being impartial. I did watch everything in one day, so it was like 9 hours of wrestling. So I know the feeling that I had watching All Out and then transitioning to Palooza did not match up. Um, and for better or for worse, I wish I had my co-host here to where they can like put in their 2 cents. But um, yeah, All Out was great. I think that production was nice, except for that little hiccup in the main event match with Hangman and Fletcher, to where the lights are all blue, and I was like, this just does not look right. It looked great at Double or Nothing when they did it, but when you put the blue background with the blue light, it was just like and they quickly like changed that. Somebody in the production was like, bro, this does not look good. We got to like turn this back on. Um, but yeah, let's talk about it. Show kicks off with CNC, Christian, and Cope versus FTR. Uh and I thought this match did not overstay its welcome, right? I think that it was a good idea to lean in with Cope and Christian to open up the show, especially from like a business sense of it, to where we had talked about it. Me and Hero had chatted about it while the show was going on. He was like, man, like they probably should have, put CNC as like the main event. I had mentioned to him, I was like, hey, like if we're bringing in new fans of, from WWE, what better way to hit them is with like the nostalgia of like two people that you recognize immediately, right? You recognize Cope and Christian if you're like an Attitude Era fan or you're an older fan or whatnot. And then if you are, a fan of like the 2016, 2017, 2018 WWE, you also recognize FTR. So it bred like immediate familiarity. Um, and I thought the match was solid. I don't think that I was looking for any 5-star show out here, but it got the job done. And it leaned into the shenanigans early. Like I said, didn't overstay its welcome. There was some dope parts with like before they came out, to where you had the Bubbles cameo from Trailer Park Boys, which he's a Canadian actor, I believe, and they just went fucking ballistic for that. There was also the hockey player, and I didn't grab his name, so forgive me for that, but they also popped for that as well. Like it was some good like fan service for the crowd initially. Um, One of the dopest moments that we've seen is that Cope and his tribute to Cena, right? So we see the 5 knuckle shuffle spot where he raises his hand and he does the "You can't see me," and to hear an AEW crowd chant "You can't see me" felt like you was in the Twilight Zone. And then afterwards to just erupt into Cena chants, right? Where it's like Cena, Cena, like that. That's something that I never expected to happen here. Um, it just showed that, like, once again, that that bullshit of like the tribalism effect don't translate all the way, bro. Like, stay off the internet, watch what you want to watch, love what you want to love, but understand that there's a respect that was shown there, and the crowd also like showed the same respect as well. Because the crowd could be like, "Boo, we don't want this," but they chanted for John Cena, which was dope. That's never in a million years what I thought I would have heard a Cena pop at AEW, and John Cena's not in the building. Like, that's dope. Um, Speaking of the shenanigans, though, we see that like as Cope and Christian are about to get the pin here, Stokely pulls the ref out, and I was like, "Well, who the hell? Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, what?" Stokely, he sat there, he's around, like he's just waiting, like he's waiting for a little bit too long, and then some music hits, and I'm like, "Well, who the hell could possibly come out to to save Cope and them? Like who's gonna help?" And then we see Beth just pop up on the jumbotron, and that place loses its shit, bro. To see Beth Copeland, FKA Beth Phoenix, pop out, it was like, whoa! Like, I didn't expect that. I think I tweeted out that, oh, so we just bringing the wives out. Like, we just everybody's wife is making an appearance, this weekend, and I think that was really dope too. I think it was funny. It may be slightly petty in a way of like, oh, so y'all just bringing out former wives. We can bring out a former wife. We can bring out a wrestler's wife too. We can do that as well. Um, I did see also like it just brought up some immediate like dream matches that people were asking for. Like, they wanted to see Beth and like Stat, Beth and Bane. Like, they just wanted to see this legend get in the ring with some of these other AEW superstars, and I was like, that's not a bad idea. I don't know if it's like a one off. We don't know. We don't know if she's been signed. She just popped up, but it would have been really really cool, or would be really cool to see Beth like lock up with like the Megan Baines and like the Statlanders of like AEW. Um, some dope spots in here. Well, to go back to Beth, we did see that she speared the hell out of Stoke and then carried him away like on her shoulders. Like, that is still a grown man that she just lifted up and just trotted up the ramp here. Um, Cash's power bomb to Christian on the table on the outside was just ill. The overall spirit gets the win here, and like I mentioned beforehand, like, it just didn't overstay his welcome. I thought like it was a great opener. He got in, got out, understood what the premise was here. Um, More shenanigans happen after the match to where we see Nick Wayne on his wheelchair pop out. The whole patriarchy thing is not done between Christian and Nick Wayne. We see FTR hit Christian with a spike power driver. They also put Cope in handcuffs and locks him on the handcuffs, or locks the handcuffs on the ring rope, and so he's watching Christian get spike power driver. And then we see this dope like warrior moment, and I'm being a little like over dramatic, but it's like you see Beth like on Cope, and Cope's telling her like, run, like, get out of here, run, go. And she looks at him like, look, it's like the warrior, like, I love you. And she turns around and just goes fist to fist with, I think it was Dax, which was so dope, because that was hard. It's like you went out swinging, right? And ends up getting spike pile drive too. And you see like Cope just losing it. Like, you have to watch your friend get the pile driver, and then you have to watch her wife who had a pop, and she comes out and takes the pile driver. Just an overall dope segment here. Like, I couldn't have said anything bad about that at all. So we'll see what that leads into. There's a lot of this All Out left a lot of like, well, so what's going to happen now on the table, right? Um, Getting into match 2, as soon as they put up the Eddie Kingston graphic here, they just go nuts. And there was a lot of criticism on like why you would, debut Eddie in this way. Like, why not just have him pop up on the Dynamite and we do the build, which I also agree with. But then sometimes it's like, hey, you want to see Eddie Kingston, you're going to tune into the pay-per-view, especially in the aspect of like, this is the first one that they put on HBO Max. So it's like, hey, we're going to have reasons for people to tune in and draw. Like if you want to, if we put Eddie Kingston on Dynamite or Collision, it's like, okay, we saw Eddie Kingston. He popped up. He had a promo battle, or he had like a scuffle with somebody, and we saw him. But in order to like maximize on not only buys but also like a superstar like return, they did it on the pay-per-view. Now, like I said, do I agree with it? I'm not sure, but I do understand the optics behind both sides of the field here. Um, Eddie Kingston, it was heavily missed, right? I didn't realize it till like his music hit and he comes out, and I'm like, yeah, that's somebody who you needed to go toe to toe with, like the Death Riders, right? You needed that person to be there, and I don't know if he would have succeeded. I don't know if like there would have been any kind of pivot that Tony would have had to have made with Eddie Kingston. But you needed that antagonist or that protagonist to go against like Death Riders and whatnot. And it's funny because he still comes out with the Claudio Sex Egg shirt, which I believe is like a callback for like years. So you come out swinging already. So now overall match, uh, eh, but I'm not expecting a crazy return match, especially after being out 500 plus days. He was just happy to be there, right? It's the same kind of grace that I gave AJ when in the Palooza part here, where we just like you haven't been in the ring in so long, like the ring rust is apparent. It's gonna be there. Like there's nothing that you can do about that at all. So I'm just happy to witness it. The match wasn't, I wouldn't have put this as no 5-star, 4-star, 3-star classic or nothing like that, but it did its job. And I'm pretty sure it was a relative like short match. I don't think it went over maybe 15. That's pushing it. So yeah, dope to see Eddie Kingston. Really weird. I don't know if the backhand was supposed to finish. I don't know if like it was a whiff. I don't know. The finish was just a little odd. But once again, I'm giving you grace. It's been a really long time since you've been in the ring. And then after the pin happens, you see him like, look at the hard cam. He's telling the crowd like, I missed you. I love you. Like, and he's just like almost like, about to break into tears. And it's like just a dope overall moment. Inside this match, we also see that Brian Keith gets a little active with them. It's like a 2v1. And then we hear that like Hook's new theme pop up, which it doesn't generate a pop because it's such an odd like start, and hopefully it works. But as of right now, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But we see Hook is out here and lining himself with Eddie Kingston, and prior to that, we saw Hook promo where he's like, "Oh, maybe it's better to be alone," and then again, maybe not. So, is Eddie Kingston the one to raise Hook's value here, and not even necessarily raise, but get you quite like interested in whatever like Hook's doing? Um, TBD. We'll see for sure. We don't really know. But I know that like a fresh start is needed for both. You can lean into like, lean into you coming back, but also lean into helping out Hook figure out his footing in AEW as well. So definitely some things are happening. All right. We'll see how and what the Hook and Kingston storyline goes. And at this point, I'm realizing that like, we are flowing through these matches. Like they're smooth, they're not overstaying their welcome, like everything's going solid. But before we get out of this, I want to mention like now Death Riders is very apparent. They're grabbing members, they recruit members here. We know that Gabe Kidd is a part of the Death Riders. Gabe Kidd was Eddie Kingston's last match. Do we expect them to cross paths at some point? I would like to think so. I don't know where you would do that, but I would assume that hey, we gonna lock up because what we had is it's not over yet. It to be fair, what would be dope in what we're 3 months away is that you do another like what is it, Wrestle Dynasty, and you run Eddie Kingston and Gabe Kidd back in Japan. I think that'd be hard as fuck too. Like I'm gonna come back up. I'm gonna go back up there because what happened is not over. You're gonna see me for sure. Um, Next up we have the uh the MJF and Mark Briscoe um tax and tables match, right? Which is a odd stipulation because it's always thumbtacks and tables here. Um, and I was like, okay, well, how are they gonna make this different, right? We see that uh Bryce, the ref out there, is taped up, elbow to fingers, like gloves covered. He's covered head to toe, with like protective gear. And I was like, that looks a little odd. Like he's a little over prepared here. I've never seen a ref do that. And we get to the point where the match starts, and we see Mark Briscoe take all of the thumbtacks, the whole bucket, and he's just laying them in the middle of the ring. Like, just the whole ring looked like it's spread with like thumbtacks. You know, like you take some toast and you spread like the butter on the toast. He Imagine the ring is the bread and it's just thumbtacks just everywhere. And I was like, oh, this is about to be something else. Initially, my thought process also was like, this is going to be the match that turns people away. Like, this is going to be, it's the too hardcore. Like, what are we doing here? If you're bringing in new people, they have never seen anything like this. I was like, it's about to get ugly. And contrary, this was actually the most tame match like I've seen with like this kind of stipulation. Um, One of the things I respect about this is that the way that MJF and also Mark, uh, it wasn't just spot fest, right? There was a lot of tug of war of who's gonna power slam who onto what first. There's a lot of emotion, and when like you did get that moment, like you were not necessarily like milking it, but you're like leaning into it, like you're drawing out the emotion from the crowd. You're not moving on from the spot too fast. Um, it was uh it was just a great way that you see MJF is like, yes, this is a hardcore kind of like style of match, but we're going to do this in a way where it's digestible and not gruesome, and we're just forcing you to like watch some crazy shit. Um, yeah, it was like every bump counted. It was great, like, selling and being dramatic to certain things, like just getting your full potential and maximizing like every moment that's happening here. Um, yeah, dope match. Crazy spot is that we see MJF gets that first power slam, and I was like, ugh, that was brutal. And then we see Briscoe has his whole head lit up with thumbtacks, and I'm like, that can't be safe. I've never seen thumbtacks planted inside somebody's head. Uh, that was awful. The Alabama Slam spot was ill. Like, it's just overall such a it's such a wild match, but so tame compared to like normal, all out standards here. Um, and on top of that, the right man won. MJF went 0-2 in the same day. I was gonna say weekend, but the same day he went 0-2 because he lost to Mystico out in CMLL. But Mark needed this win, right? He needed this one, and it was the right move to place, or for MJF to put him over. Um, it was his idea of the match. He was the one that was being belittled and ridiculed about his brother, and like just being like the butt end of the stick or the brunt end of the stick for a long time, especially also when it came to like the contract too, because MJF took the AEW like Casino Gauntlet contract. So right person won here. Briscoe gets the elbow drop through the table. And we get the Froggy Bow, and then we also see the Jay Driller for the win, and that was like perfect. Absolutely like perfect here. Um oh, we didn't also talk about the tombstone on the chair. That was fire too. Moving on though, getting into a little segment here that we see with the Acclaimed, and I believe it's producer like Jerry Lynn, and he's like, look, we're gonna put you guys in a tag team. And like, I'm not working with him. Like, I'm not working with him. I'm the best wrestler alive. I don't need to work with him. And they're just going back and forth. And he's like, hey, if y'all don't want to work, y'all can go home, be suspended without pay. And you see, like, Anthony Bowens is just like, I don't want to work with him. He loses his mind. He turns and Max is just gone. And I'm like, are they retconning Bowens like single run? Like, is this not the right thing to do? Like, are they retconning it? Or are they going to give us Bowens in this particular character and not the Scissor Acclaim character? And if you do that, how long do we wait to see if that process works? Because initially, when you put them back together, everybody's gonna think Acclaim, right? And maybe that's the story here, is that like both of them, like, we don't want to work with each other, we're being forced to do this. And maybe the long-term story is that eventually we'll get back to the Scissor Acclaim version of them. But right now, this version is like, we don't want to work with each other. I don't want to be around him. I'm better than him. No, I'm better than him, and we'll just see how this works out. Especially because Bones is also talking crazy to Billy. So like, and also the question, does the AEW tag team division need the Acclaim right now? Is that something that we're looking for? Especially considering later on which two people will make the return here. But yeah, definitely some very interesting things to see here. Keeping in the realm of tag teams, Hurt versus Gates of Agony. Great match. Absolutely great match. I think one of my notes here is Shelton Benjamin has like one of the best moves I love to see. Like, his knee strikes is just premier. I put that up there with like, what is it? I forgot the move. It's like Kenny's like knee strike. It's like such a dope thing to see when it happens. I think Shelton might be a little bit better just based off of like frame and like the way he does it. Super, super dope. But overall, it's MJ, or not MJ, it's MVP Bobby Shelton versus Ricochet, Bishop Kong, Katana Leoa. And yeah, they was getting busy. They was definitely getting busy. Also, MVP did the balling spot. I ain't seen that since I was like 13. I was like, that was a little reminiscent here. I think one of the bigger stories here is that MVP he is wrestling here. He does end up costing them, or he takes the pin. So I won't say costing the match, but he takes the pin, and it's kind of like, maybe that's the case, is that, hey, we can't take out the three of them without somebody else. Like, yeah, like, you good, but we need somebody to come and like neutralize this, because right now we're just a little outnumbered. Some of the spots here, Bobby had the dominator on Ricochet. Ricochet selling in this was great. He does a little like scream spot where he gets flipped up in the air. You hear him scream. The German suplexes on Ricochet and Bishop Khan fire here. Yeah, I think this was solid. The right team won. Gates of Agony needed the push. They needed the rub. Once I saw who took the pin here, it then became apparent again of who in the Hurt does not want to be pinned. If MVP took it here, Sheldon took it the last time, we're looking kind of sketch, Bob. We're looking kind of sketch. Just going to tell you right now, it's looking a little weird. The whole group was able to take the pin, except for you. Shit, even MJF took a pin in the same pay-per-view. It looks a little odd. All right, just going to throw that out there. Yeah, Ricochet gets the win with the Spirit Gunner MVP, which I at first I wasn't too much of a fan of the move, but now I kind of like the move. The Spirit Gun is kind of dope. It's kind of easy to do. You can do it on everybody. Like, I'm with it. At first I wasn't a fan. I'm there. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this story goes. Once again, just going back to the story here is, how do you defeat them? You need somebody else. So now we're gonna get a new member, hopefully, of the Hurt Syndicate. Who do we grab? What does that look like? Who's out there? Do we also add, a woman to the group? Like, who could be out there that would greatly benefit from being next to the Hurt Syndicate. And I also at this point makes a lot of sense why the MJF angle didn't work per se, because had you did Shell and Bobby MJF versus Ricochet and Gates of Agony, there's too much star power. Of course, Hurt's gonna win, right? And especially if they're looking to like portray longer stories and portray great stories, you need to not have the group be so overpowered, right? They're too OP. Like they were already OP without MJF. You add MJF, and now it's like, okay, we definitely can't lose because now MJF brings his own star power. People are gonna want to see him win. You don't want to see him lose for no reason. Um, yeah. Also, at that time, MJF just had a lot of other stuff going on. The Mystical thing was happening. He was beef with Mark, so like, it makes sense. So yeah, who's gonna be that next person for Hurt? What does that look like? Who's out there? Um, yeah, I don't know. Like if we're looking for another black male talent, it's like Kevin Iceman, Jet Speed, um, STP, Shane Taylor Promotions has like their group all locked up. Who's out there that you can just use and like, hey, we can also like raise your stock up. And there's going to be somebody out there who maybe I'm not looking at. It would be a very interesting fit, but a Michael Oku, like, is that somebody that they're looking at here? Like, who do we add to um push this story? Uh, moving on here, CEO versus Rio for the TB or TNT title. I think it's TNT. TBS title. My bad. TBS title. Um, yeah. I don't think Rio is capable of putting on a bad match, and you pair her with Mercedes, you're gonna get some shit here. Also respect the Mercedes having the man hose with the belt. I thought that was fire. I was like, huh, this is interesting. I like you got 8 random jobber ass niggas out here with the belts on. Not gonna lie, that's some bullshit. That's fire. Like that's fire. Um and she's getting more and more creative with how she displays the belts, which is always dope here. Rio's entrance was dope. I thought the coat was fire. Um Immediately one of the dopest spots is Rio stomps. Like she jumped off the apron and just straight into Mercedes' chest. She jumps off the table straight into Mercedes' chest. This whole match was just Rio showcasing, hey, you might not be able to fuck with me, and I'm gonna show you why. Um, she had a nice like crucifix bomb in this spot. The single leg crab, like just really like putting in like that pressure on Mercedes. And I've been mentioning beforehand, like if you've been paying attention, like there's been moments where Mercedes is not on her game as much as she should be, and I think that's part of the character. These last couple matches have been her getting like just scraping by, like scratching by, to the point that where like we're using roll ups, we're using quick pins. This match in particular, she uses a ref distraction to get the win here, and it was weird because like she grabs his pocket and then he turns his back and then she like breaks Rio's eyes to get the win here with the Monet Maker. But yeah, I think that's the story here is that you are barely getting out of these matches. If you watch this match, it was clearly apparent Rio was on her, like immediately on her. It also made me think about like the perception of like the Japanese like women wrestlers that we see. So if you look at like the Asuka, the Ios, the Rios, the Minas of like the wrestling world, is that this bubbly personality that they show is like, oh my god, like look like the clothing and like they're so nice and like they're great. All of them are psychotic, not mentally, but just all of them are just spazzes when it comes to the ring. Like this whole bubbly persona will get you fucked up because you think that it's one way and it's not. They come out with haymakers, they come out with submissions and holds, and just like they're just demons, bro. Like all like legit crash outs, and I love that aspect because like you're looking like the music, the entrance music is just so bright, and it's like everybody's in a good mood, and then like they get in the ring, it's like oh, you're not right. You I need to get out. I'm in danger. I need to get out of here. Um, but yeah, overall match is great. I don't see anything wrong with this match. I thought Rio was like showcasing who she is. I mean, she was the first inaugural, or the inaugural AEW Women's Champion, and like it proves why. Like she's been that person, been able to like to get active. Only thing is now I would look to see, or I would want to see like the build of how who stops Mercedes? Like who is going to be the one? We know that they're aiming to get the TBS record broken, the one that's previously held by Jade. So we know that that's in their works. Just so we knew that she wasn't losing the title here, but I believe that comes up in October or November. Like it's coming up pretty soon. So we're now in the next 4 to 8 weeks. I'm looking at like what stories are we building towards Mercedes and who is going to be that person. Um, yeah. So let's just take a quick like look at the landscape here and see where we can go with that. Um, my match of the night, match of the weekend here, is Okada Kanosuke Mascara Dorada. Fire. Absolutely fire. Yo. Like, initially, we know that the story here is between Konosuke and Okada. We know that that honestly sounds like a Wrestle Dream kind of match here. Or if you want to hold off and we do it in January in Tokyo, that would also be fire too. Like, gas. Um, and we also knew that with Dorada in this match, we knew who was taking the pin here. But that being said, he showed the fuck out. And honestly, probably the MVP of this match was Mascara Dorada. Like, just ill. I mean, initially we kick off the match and there's already a brainbuster on the entrance ramp. So I was like, yeah, they're about to get physical for sure. Yeah, I got Dorada showing out here. The 1v1 with Okada and Konosuke initially was dope. The Blue Thunder on Okada was fire here. Dorada with the Super Hurricanrana, like I have never seen no shit like that, bro. Like we have a double like Hurricanrana, like off the turnbuckle. Fire, 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 fire. Um, it was funny though, because there's a spot here where they're like, you can see that Okada and Konosuke get tired of like all this like luchador flip shit, and they immediately just boot the hell out of him. It was like, you don't get the fuck out of here with this shit, and they just lock up with the 1v1. But it was definitely a very funny moment of like, hey, you doing a little too much right now. We just gonna take you out, and we're gonna figure out what the hell is going on here. Um, yeah, so super super fire match. Would not change this one at all. I think the right person one, of course, it definitely builds story with Konosuke and Okada. We also now look at Dorada like, yo, he's on the radar for people too. So it'd be very interesting to see how the partnership, the dual CMLL AEW partnership, will work out as well here. Yeah, going back to a couple spots here. We have Okada gets the win here with the drop kick to Konosuke to kick him out of the ring, and then we see the Rainmaker on Dorada, and that's how we get the win. Yeah, overall, gas, 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 gas. The last couple matches Okada has been doing, the money has been well spent. I think the past 3, maybe 4 Okada matches. Yeah, I want to say since Kenny at All In. Maybe there was one before that, but I'd say for sure since All In, Okada he's been working. I'm off like the Okada bash train. You've been putting in the time here, so we'll just go with that. We'll see how we go forward because you still Okada, but I'm noticing you working a lot harder than you was the prior years. Coffin match, Mox Darby. This was the maybe too like gruesome match, but you kind of knew that going in. At least like I did. For that new fan or new person watching, you're like, oh, coffin match is gonna be great. Not immediate, like, well, not I guess it wasn't immediate, but not like oh, we're gonna no, remember that shit was immediate. Darby's biting ears and shit like within like the first like 5 minutes of the match here. Um, they did start off hot. Like Mox is making his entrance and Darby is fighting him in the crowd. He's not even let him come to the ring. They're just immediate like action to like hand and feet here. We see that uh he jumps off the what is it like the second level of like the crowd here and immediately takes a solo coffin drop. And it's very interesting to see like these spots where it's just the one person like supporting you or supposed to be like be there to catch you. Always makes me squeamish, but you know, Mox is Mox and he's one of the most like polished wrestlers in the business here. Um but yeah, let's talk about the shit here. Mutilation of the ear. Not too much of a fan of it. I don't like the whole like the forks in the ears and we're just stretching out like ear holes and just, yeah. Don't get not my cup of tea. I get it. He was getting his lick back. You know, Mox was fucking him up at Forbidden Door. Makes sense here. Um John's fucking like weird little like flip suplex that he did on Darby onto the coffin was fire. We did see Death Riders make an early like appearance here, and I was like, oh, okay, they're out early, but then he sends them away, even Marina. And I was like, why the fuck? When does he ever just send Marina away? Like the rest of y'all can understand, but never do we send Marina. Like she's always at the matches. And I was like, interesting. Either he's really confident or they're really gonna have Darby get this win like, you know, cleanly. Um yeah. Very, very interesting. Darby then grabs like the fork out of the turnbuckle pad. He had a fork just stashed randomly in the match and just starts jabbing Mox in the head with the fork. Once again, ah, not my cup of tea. Which is also fucking nuts because I love the syringe spot. As gruesome as that was, um, between Swerve and Hangman, I was like, I ain't never seen no shit like this. This is fucking wild. So the needle spot I'm okay with, but the fork spot is too far for me, which is ass backwards. But I'm sorry, man. It is who I am. Yeah. Darby pulls out the Scorpion Deathlock here. Um, so still, you know, homages to Sting. So shout out to Sting here. The dopest spot in this match, right? And this is how you know, like, this is where the story elements can still go. Uh Darby approaches Daniel. Brian Danielson's on commentary, which he's also been amazing. Fucking phenomenal. He slides his bag out under the desk. And he's like little head nod, like, go for it. Take this. And inside this duffel bag is the plastic bag. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is a great fucking callback. Because looking at the character aspect of it, and we'll talk about what happened with the plastic bag, but looking at the character aspect of it, is that while he's an announcer, yeah, he's still talking. He's talking about the matches, but he ain't forgot. The character of Brian Danielson has not forgot. And he wants to see Mox burn. He wants to see him go out. Like, just thinking about like I can't do it right now. So I'm gonna have you do it, right? And what that means for like the character. We see that he's been super like tense when it comes to Death Rider moments. He's been very critical on like the way he talks about Mox's moves and the way he thinks, the way Mox thinks. He's paying really, really strong attention to Mox. Mox has been off playing him. Like Mox is not paying attention, not looking at him. You're not even here to me. However, you now make me look at you now because you gave him this plastic bag to suffocate me with, which Darby does. Darby goes and suffocates him with the bag and whatnot. But he's like, I would think that if I'm Mox, where the fuck he get this plastic bag from? There's only one person that this can correlate to here. Oh, you think that shit is sweet? You gonna give him the bag to Try to suffocate me? Okay, yeah. Now I'm back on your ass. Now the target's still there. Once again, just little like tidbits of like storytelling that they do here that it can go different directions. Now, do I think this is gonna be immediate payoff? Absolutely not. But I do know that like the way that you're setting this up here is like because Darby fails. Like the bag, he doesn't completely suffocate him. The match doesn't end, so you fail in your attempt to take out Mox. But now I know that you tried to take me out, and you try to do it through Darby, but you try to be sneaky with. But now I see you. Now you're on my radar. We're going to handle you at some point, and we'll get to that too because the match doesn't stop here. Their issue doesn't stop here. We see that he gives him the plastic bag. Darby tries to suffocate Mox with the plastic bag. As soon as we see Darby gets like the upper hand and we see Mox inside the casket, Pac returns. And I was like, fuck. Now Death Riders is back up. You just added Daniel Garcia. Pac is back. Like, yeah, I don't see them getting taken out anytime soon. It's not happening, bro. And it's dope to see Pac because he's a phenomenal fucking wrestler. I think like he has some of my favorite matches in AEW with especially just off the top, the one with him and Ospreay. Like anything like also Death Triangle was fucking fire too. So like just to have him back in that this atmosphere is dope. Yeah. So Pac returns. He ends up zips Darby into the body bag, throws him into the coffin. Mox closes the coffin. Death Riders carry the casket. Like they carry it out. Like they take it with them. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Where the fuck are they taking this casket? Yeah. And we'll talk about what happens later, but yeah, they take the casket away and we just see them walk like, just walk away with it. Very interesting. I saw a tweet. I forgot who did it, but it was really fucking funny to me. And it was like, Bryan Danielson hates Jon Moxley so much, he went plastic instead of paper. And that shit popped. That shit was funny as fuck to me. I was like, that's a good joke. Whoever put that tweet out, that's a good fucking joke. Women's four-way. AEW's Women's World Championship four-way between Tekla, Hayter, Stat, Toni Storm. Yeah. This one was a complete shock here. We see Tekla's getting high praise, as she should. She's been amazing. The matches she's been doing, Queen Aminata has been great. She's been heavily in all like the collisions and dynamite, so it makes sense why she's here. She starts coming out immediately, starts smacking people with like the belt from like her gear. Pacing the match was fire here. Hayter has a dope clothesline spot. Stats pile driver that she did to Tekla on the outside was fucking crazy. We also see Yuta. Yuta was there in the beginning. And it's like, okay. Yuta's been talking in the Stats ear for the past 3 weeks now, 4 weeks. Why is he here? Why are you in her ear like this all the time? Oh, and we get that payoff. Because we get a new AEW Women's World Champion. And Stat uses the pin that is from Yuta's like bag. And I was like, oh, I see what happened here. He's been trying to tell her, hey, use the pin, use this, use that. She's been so like stubborn to not do it. And the one time that she does it, she gets her chip. And now we have an interesting dynamic, interesting story that we could probably tell between Willa Yuta and Statlander, which I think is dope. Do I think Stat joins Death Riders? Probably not. But if she did, I wouldn't be like opposed to it. Like, if this is like Yuta's recruitment of Stat is similar to Rhea's recruitment of Dom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're on the outside, I'm gonna bring you in, and now you're part of our group. I would be dope with that. That's fire to me. I'm cool with that, right? Especially now that you have like the women's world champion. Like, I think that'd be a really interesting dynamic to add to the Death Riders, especially because like Marina's not fully active, like she's in sometimes, but not. She's on Defy though. She cut a crazy fucking promo for Defy. That shit was fucking fire. Um, but yeah, we get Statlander as a new women's champion, which feels long overdue. Um, Stat has been great for a really long time now. It's very, very interesting because we're gonna see what this reign does. What does this look like? Who's gonna be Stat's first opponent? Where does Willow fit into this? So many different questions of like what's going on. How does Tony back? What is Tony's promo gonna sound like? Because she was left on the ring apron, speechless, stuck. Like she didn't know what to say, how to feel about it. Like she was just almost like a slight descendant into chaos. Like she didn't know what to do. Um, and also, what does Tony Storm look like without the title? Like, what does her promos look like? What does her storylines do? What's the next chapter for Tony Storm? I would honestly think that it probably feels like a slight burden like lifted now because now you can just go back to doing like regular things. You can run angles that don't have to have anything to do with the title, and now we get to watch Statlander go on her run of being AEW World Champion. And the matches that come with that, and who becomes her thorn in her side. Is that a babyface? Is that a heel? Like, there's so many different like parallels that we can like play with here. Very interesting. Did not expect Stat to be the to win the world championship, but I'm not mad at it. That's cool. There's a lot of questions here. I think this is like one of the dopest pay-per-views because so many things have so many doors open to how they can handle this. Now, do I think they're going to handle all these stories the best way? No. But I do like the potential that we could see some of these, 3 or 4 of these, turn out to be really, really solid, like threads down the line. Jet Speed, Brodito, Don Callis, and the Bucks in the tag team ladder match. If you came to me today and said that your MVP or your wrestler of the year was Bandito, I wouldn't be mad at you. I wouldn't be mad at you at all. Bandito has had a year. He has been amazing. He's in that realm of just like freakish athlete, uh, crazy, like, like character work and aura and gimmick and whatnot. And then you paired him up with Brody, and now like it just works. Like it works really well. Um, he's had great matches already this year with uh like Bandito Hechicero, Bandito Kanosuke. Like if you told me he was in your match or your wrestler of the year, I'm not mad at it. He might be in my match of the year list or wrestler of the year list. Like he's been on a tear. The military press spot that he had in here, with Hechicero, like was just nuts, bro. Also, shout out to the Bucks wrestling the Kobe threes. I was like, are they wrestling Kobe's? And like, sure as shit, they're definitely wrestling Kobe's. Fire. Um, the initial thread that was kind of dope here is that we have the Bucks and Don Callis working together because like of that similar thread, and also them just being heels and whatnot. And everything was fine, and they working together, and we're putting the pause of everybody into the Bucks. Like, hey, they out the ring. We can go up and just go grab these titles. And that causes a rift between, Hechicero and Josh Alexander. Kevin Knight, um, landing on Matt's neck for like that jumping spot was fire because the margin of error is very slim to where he hops up in the air and Matt has to come under him and get him like the electric chair like position. Super, super like hard to do. Like that was an amazing spot here. Um, yeah, I'm not mad at that. That was really cool. Josh Alexander has a German on Brody King. Crazy. The 4 corner spot was absolutely ill, right? I love when they do those spots. They were nuts. The pile driver that Brody did on I think it was Speedball. He just killed Speedball like for nothing. That man is he didn't need that. I don't know where he had that coming, but just destroys him through the ladder. Uh, Lifting the ladder as a group to throw Kevin Knight off the ladder and through the double tables. Interesting spot. Never seen that before. Um, Bandito backflip with the ladder in his hands was ill. Like, just this match was so energetic, bro. And it wasn't even like, a crazy, like a whole bunch of like orchestrated spots by the Bucks. Like, they weren't, to be honest, like the premier players in here. I think between Jet Speed and like Bandito, like they was leaning into their shit. Um, yeah, man. Like I if you were looking for a match that didn't highly have a lot of like Buck spots, I think that you would get in this match here. I will say I'm interested to see what the Bucks thing is now, and I guess we kind of get a little bit of that because at the end of this match here, we see that Bandito and Brody get the win. They're out of the ring. While the Bucks are in the ring, we see the return of Jack Perry. Now, Jack has been sending the Bucks knives, although this has been on BTE, so you wouldn't see this on AEW TV. This has been to like the Young Bucks like YouTube channel and whatnot. But he's been sending knives. He's been leaving notes saying this is for if you're gonna stab me in the back, use this one, or just little like jabs here and there about the Bucks and what they've been doing. And we see them get the upper advantage here, super kicks, get ready for like the EVP trigger, and lights go out. And we see the full clip of the Luchasaurus return, which now makes me think that the Nick Wayne injury kind of forced them to show Luchasaurus a little early. Um, yeah, because it's the same clip, but now it's more expanded. We see that, and like we had speculated that arm that was injecting him with the revival liquid or the syringe or whatever was Jack Perry. So Jack Perry is now back with Luchasaurus as seems to be baby faces, back with the Jurassic Express theme song, which I don't want Jack Perry to go back to being like Jungle Boy. I would prefer him to just be Jack Perry, and we can do new music. If it was just a spot for like nostalgia, that's great. But I think I would like to keep Jack Perry in the I don't know, the protagonist antagonist. Like, you're just in the middle here. Like, I don't want you to be full babyface, but I also don't want you to be full heel either. But yeah, we get Jurassic Express is back. Uh this seems like the angle that the Bucks are gonna be leaning into is gonna be Jurassic Express and the Bucks beefing because Jack's like, y'all left me out here to die, right? Like, come on now, like I gotta get my lick back. Like, what you talking about? Also, we see that Kill Switch seems to have got rid of the Kill Switch name. He's going back to Luchasaurus. He took the belt off, threw the belt in the crowd. So maybe this is a brand new start for his character as well. We'll just see. Once again, this pay-per-view left out a lot of like questions here. There's a lot of like what ifs, a lot of speculating. And that's what I love about pro wrestling is like when something's not cut and dry, your brain starts to just wander about the possibilities of what could happen here. This turns into or after we see like the Death Riders are still carrying the casket. They are carrying it. Mox is telling the Death Riders, hey, get up out of here. It's good, I got it. He's a done deal. It is what it is over here. They drop the casket, Death Riders hop in the truck, they go off. Mox is telling the cameraman, like, get out of here, you don't need to be here either. And as soon as Death Riders drive off, Darby pops out the casket with that pipe, pause, and he smacks Mox with it, and then puts Mox in like the body bag, and then sprays lighter fluid on the body bag. And I'm like, he ain't about to set him on fire. Like that can't be what's about to happen here. And sure as shit, he sets this motherfucker on fire. From, of course, boots going up, so legs going up. Because had he done this on like back, it would have been a little crazy. And it wasn't like he was lit on fire for that long either. They had people there immediately to put the fire out because Mox started, shit got hot. He was in there squirming and moving around like, bro, like it was fucking nuts. And I don't know if it was selling or if it was just that hot. We will never know. But he gets or the AEW crew puts the fire out. They drag Darby out. Like, hey, you're going too far. It's enough. It's enough. It's enough. And we can clearly see that this angle between them two, definitely not over. Now, do I think Darby has the manpower to uh, handle that right now? No, there's like 7 of them, bro. You're going to get jumped every single time. So you better go find some friends. Speaking of friends, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the conglomeration had a promo where, Mark Briscoe, I believe he called up the Don Callis family, said, get your best 3, I'll get my 2 over here. And hey, is he ready to come back? Like, what do we, our guy on the phone, Kyle, like, what's he talking about? Is he good to go? Kyle's like, I believe he should be, or I think he'll be there. Either way, it's a reveal that, or they put up the Orange Cassidy thumb. So Orange Cassidy's on his way back too. Like, you're about to get Orange Cassidy back in the mix with Don Callis. So we'll see what that looks like, where that goes. We haven't seen Orange Cassidy in a pretty long time, which leads me into also a really quick segue here. For them to lose, or this pay-per-view not to have Kenny, Swerve, or Ospreay, they did a phenomenal job. You lose out on 3 major hitters. Like, this shit was ill. Like, they did their shit here. They did their fucking shit. It shows you that people were ready to step up, and they did step up. Yeah, like they stepped up tremendously to not have like their 3 power players or 3 main draws. 2 main draws if you want to be fucking picky, but I strongly consider Swerve a draw. But yeah, people stepped up. Keeping it, in that same realm, people stepping up. Main event, Kyle Fletcher, Hangman Adam Page. Kyle Fletcher stepped the fuck up. Like, if the overall job here was to show the world that Kyle Fletcher is a star, you succeeded. Now, we knew Kyle Fletcher wasn't going to win. He has a TNT championship, and they're not about to do double champions. Not yet. Do I think Kyle Fletcher could be a double champion? Absolutely, but I don't think this is the correct moment. I think that's also the story here, is that, and it was a story, is that you're not ready. You're not ready to be that guy yet. And that's funny because that is the exact story, that he's not ready to be that guy. During this match, we see that there is moments where Fletcher has the upper hand. He's like playing with the food, right? You just like the kicks on the head, just not going in for the kill, just being the cocky, arrogant, like, this young wrestler that he is. It's also such a dope moment that the crowd picks up and they say, you're not ready, right? And it generates this organic moment here where he says, or he's looking at the crowd like, I am ready. But you don't get that reaction from the crowd, or from him towards the crowd, if the crowd don't chant, you're not ready. Like, I thought that was such a dope spot. Like, it's like this Anakin Skywalker breaking moment, like the I hate you to the crowd, because they're looking like, bro, you're not the guy just yet. Like, it's not your time. He's losing his shit. Like, and I think that's such a dope, like, thing to catch on camera, thing that the crowd did. Like, it's a 1-of-1 moment here. Like, that doesn't happen. You don't get the crowd to chant, you're not ready. You get, you suck. You get a fuck you, Fletcher. You get, like, those kind of things. But for them to chant, you're not ready, and you get that moment to where we can capture that on camera, fire. I thought that was dope. I did get a little scared here in this match. He ends up pulling off, I think, Excalibur had called it. It was a high angle Boston Crab, and it looked just like the Walls of Jericho. And I was like, please, for the love of God, do not have Jericho come out here. I know that the contract talks are happening here, but I was like, he's doing this Walls of Jericho, and it was a nice Walls of Jericho. It was the 2003, 2004 high angle, like it was dope. But I was like, please don't let this be like a callback here. Like, I don't need that at all. The back rolls, kicks was fire. There's like this, he's doing this back roll and just running and like kicking Hangman in the face, which Hangman counters to like a mean ass clothesline here. A lot of this was Hangman selling for Fletcher and like making him look phenomenal in this match. Um, we had a spike DDT spot. Uh, the Deadeye on the table was just brutal here. Hangman does a V trigger, which was fire, and it was a V trigger and a big pressure in this match. Uh, the V trigger was, of course, like, showing respect to Kenny, because also Kenny, I believe, was taken out by Fletcher, so there's that tie already there between Kyle Fletcher and Kenny Omega. And when that match happens, that's going to be fucking dope. And maybe that's what the setup was here, is that we needed to give you a lob here to where we're going to make Kyle Fletcher look as great as possible, because we know the next match that we have planned for him is with Kenny Omega, and there's a certain stigma that comes with people who wrestle Kenny Omega. And it's like, you want that to be like big, grand moments. And this match made Kyle Fletcher look grand. It made him look truly fucking amazing. The buckshot reversal into the brainbuster was ill. Once again, Brian Danielson on commentary, just make you care for every moment that's happening in this match. Like, it was just a dope main event here. The super Deadeye off the turnbuckle into the buckshot lariat was a great finisher. Like, if you're listening to this, like this segment here of me talking about All Out, and you want me to like find something truly terrible here, I can't. It just doesn't exist, bro. Like, this was top to bottom, like a great fucking pay-per-view. Like, if you paid $40 for this, you paid $50 for this, you got your money's worth, because they gave you a phenomenal showing here. Hangman retains his world champion here. There was no shenanigans at the end. I was expecting, like, maybe an angle where somebody comes out and hits, Hangman. Maybe the Don Callis family comes out and, like, to at the end of the match, to, like, make a statement. But none of that happened. So now we have an even bigger open window of what's next for Hangman. Who does Hangman face? What heel is out there, and they're going to look to get their spot back? I don't think MJF runs it back. I think that MJF goes and does like his honeymoon, because he just got married. So I wouldn't be surprised if MJF is not on TV, especially after taking the 2 L's here, and two great matches. Yeah, I don't. You're not running it back with Mox. Mox is still, he's dealing with Darby. Who is the heel that's gonna go after Hangman? I'm very interested in seeing like what the play is here, and maybe the play was initially was gonna be Wardlow before he got injured. Maybe they were gonna run Wardlow and Hangman as like that Bane Batman kind of like storyline here. Maybe that was the case. Who knows? But yeah, if you're asking me, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, I think it's perfected. I didn't watch none of the pre-show, and that could have like dropped the reviews here, because they did do the I think the tailgate happened at 11, but I was out doing like doing things beforehand, so that may have dropped it a little bit had I watched that. Maybe that 10-hour or that extra hour maybe would have changed my mind here a little bit. But just watching from pay-per-view start to finish, no misses. I think you got surprise returns. I think you got pops, big pops. Beth Copeland was a huge pop. I think you got good storylines here where we're leaving off on what happens with CNC and FTR. What's the deal with Christian and Nick Wayne? What we're gonna do with Hurt? Who's gonna end up helping Hurt out, because they're outnumbered here. They target MVP's like leg that entire match. Like, what's the angle here? Statlander, new women's champion. Who's gonna fight Stat? What's the deal with her and Yuta? Like, what does that look like? Tony Storm. What happens with Tony Storm now? What do you do? Do you go for the rematch at Wrestle Dream, or does somebody come and like try to like snipe you down? We know the next show's in Pittsburgh. We know Pittsburgh is the home of Britt Baker. Does Britt Baker make a return there? Because I would love to see Britt Baker get a chance to renew some of that bad faith that was out there, because Britt was also a huge impact. Is she going to be here on at the next Dynamite? Who knows? Orange Cassidy comes back. What does Fletcher do after the loss? Konosuke and Okada. Like, there's so many stories here. Bucks and Jurassic Express. So many stories here that we can like kind of like follow into. Um, yeah. If you're one of those guys, you're like, oh, they don't do stories. If you say they don't do stories well, I could agree with you. But if you tell me that there is no stories, period, that I would kind of like look at you kind of crazy. Shit, even Death Riders. The past 4 months, 3 months of Death Riders, maybe maybe 4 months has been solid work. Been really solid work. I think between All In and maybe a little bit before All In, Death Riders has been like, it's been solid, yo. Like, it's been really good character work here. Once again, do we think Mox is going to target Brian now? Now that Brian made him, like, Brian placed himself on the radar. Like, there's a lot that we don't know yet here. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm curious to see what happens here. But yeah, that was the All Out recap here. I will catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully we have the team here. But yeah, it's been real. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace out. Too sweet. Believe in the wave. You dig.